Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So obviously, over the past couple of days, ever since Bjergsen and TSM officially announced that he would be leaving the organization, that he's moving on to the next chapter in his career, there's been so much speculation, so many rumors and different stories going around about what's next for Bjergsen, what's next for TSM, and to some people, most importantly, why did Bjergsen leave? Was it money? Was it roster? Is he just looking for something new? You know, so many of these questions, and slowly but surely, some of these answers are coming out. That's what we're going to be talking about. But first, make sure you guys do check out the first link in the description below for my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/I_am_germ. I've been streaming a bunch over there. I plan to stream a bunch more. I would really appreciate you guys checking it out, maybe dropping a follow, maybe a prime. With that being said, let's get right into this. So, Reginald over on the TSM subreddit has been doing an AMA. It's just called a Regi Q&A, you know, whatever, where he hasn't answered a ton of questions, but he has actually answered some longer questions and given some really in-depth responses, which I think is really cool. Obviously, somebody as, you know, high up in a multi-$100 million organization like Regi doesn't have a ton of free time, doesn't have a ton of direct interaction with fans and stuff like that, especially at a crazy time like this where, you know, TSM is just in absolute chaos. Not only is it the LCS offseason where you're having a million phone calls a day, you're talking to a million people a day, your mind's racing 24/7. You're working around the clock. But also Bjergsen just left. You know, this is one of the most chaotic, crazy times in TSM's history. And the move they make this offseason is going to define the future for this organization. So really cool of him to take time out of the day to answer a bunch of questions, because obviously they're getting flamed a lot. People are scared a lot, and people have a ton of questions. But he did get a very good question from one user and answer a very good question from one user that has a lot of people talking today. And again, it tells us a lot about what's going on with Bjergsen. So here is what's going on. Again, the Reginald Q&A. Two small calves asked, I don't know what I was going to say, but he said, "Hi Regi, don't know if you can give the details about the situation, but I will try anyway." Hey, it never hurts to ask, and I'm really glad he did. He said, "When you said that TSM gave a competitive offer to Bjerg, do you mean that the team matched the highest offers Bjergsen received? Are you able to give some details about the reasons why Bjergsen did not renew his contract with the team? Different vision, roster disagreement, simply getting too comfortable and wanting to change environment?" You know, I think those are all very fair reasons. And he asks, and then Regi says this is from his perspective. Obviously, Regi can speculate, he can guess, he can know what's been told to him, but at the end of the day, part of this is going to have to come from Bjergsen himself as well. But this is what Regi says. Again, a very long answer. I do appreciate this. He said, "From my perspective, early September, we were notified that he was thinking about playing again. He decided that he would work with us on building a roster. At the same time, we also allowed him to explore options to find the best possible team for himself." So, you know, the relationship was good. Bjergsen's telling him, "Hey, I'm going to help build this roster." I'm sure they thought he was staying. You know, I'm sure they were excited for him for the future, but also just doing him the courtesy of letting him, you know, look around and stuff. But also, his contract was going to be up in November, so he was going to get to look around a little bit anyway. So, I mean, kind of a formality, but obviously nice on both sides. Bjergsen helping them out. You know, TSM returning the favor to Bjergsen. He says that they did discuss and decided that mid-October was going to be a good timeline to make a decision, because if TSM didn't start planning on alternative options, they would be left in a bad position. Again, obviously, free agency starts November 16th, so let's shoot for mid-October. Let's both make a decision and then, you know, decide what's going on. Throughout the process, Soren had a clear idea of which players he wanted to play with. He specifically was interested in playing with one player. We reached out to that team, but we're told that buying the player was not an option. We were willing to pay a 7-figure buyout. Now, that's obviously crazy. That is a ton of money. You know, what Regi is trying to get the point out is that this is not a lack. Why Bjergsen left is not from a lack of trying. You know, people are memeing like, "Oh, where's that FTX money now?" You know, stuff like that. But TSM was obviously very interested in not only trying to bring Bjergsen back, making him happy, giving him a competitive offer, but also spending top dollar on getting Bjergsen whatever he wanted. You know, they were trying to meet his demands. They were trying to set him up and help him. But this is also getting a ton of people speculating and a ton of people wondering, who is that one player? Who is this one team? And we will definitely get to that in a second. So obviously, they reached out to that team, but they were told this is not an option. There's no amount of money that we will sell you this player for. During that time, we came to the realization that we were not his first choice because the players that he was excited about were not available and had no buyout price. Obviously, there he says players he was excited about. So, he says there's one guy in specific that Bjergsen wanted to play with, but it sounds like, it could have been the thing where he was like, okay, you can't get that one guy. Well, what about these guys? And then it's, this kind of reads to me like TSM just kept striking out with all the different players that Bjergsen wanted to play with. And even though people have been talking about all the different cool rosters that TSM could maybe get with this FTX money, it seems like the reality is that whatever roster TSM was about to come up with, Bjergsen was not feeling. He was not happy with. He was not feeling like they would have a chance to actually go on and have some international success. So I think that provides a ton of clarity and just a ton of, just a ton of information about this whole situation. Very, very interesting. If TSM was really struggling, whether these players didn't want to come to TSM or whether the teams wouldn't sell them or, whatever, it seems like TSM tried and they just could not get something together in terms of, getting a good roster to keep Bjergsen around. By that point, it was already the last week of October, and we needed to start building a team without Bjergsen, so we gave him the final deadline of October 25th, which he declined. Regardless, Soren is not the type of player that plays for money, but truly wants to play with the best possible team. He's a true competitor through and through. Even in previous years, Soren would take a pay cut to help us buy out the best talent possible. I will forever be grateful to him. At this point, I felt that throwing money at him wouldn't solve the problem, and knowing Soren well, I knew he wouldn't choose a higher paycheck over playing on a better roster, so we decided to move on. For context, free agency doesn't start till mid-November, but most rosters are decided and finalized the first week of November, which obviously today's October 30th, so that's very, very exciting. We're going to get a lot of stuff coming in the next few days. Soren has been playing for more than 8 years, and as you can imagine, maintaining peak performance as a pro player at LOL is extremely difficult. He has limited time while he's at his peak to win a world championship. I respect his decision and desire to always play with the team that gives him the highest chance of winning worlds. So obviously, it doesn't seem like it was a money issue. It doesn't seem like TSM cheapened out. It seems like Bjergsen was not excited about the player or players that were going to be on the TSM roster for the future, which is obviously very, very disappointing for Regi, Parth, TSM fans. I'm sure everyone is devastated and rightfully so. But who is this one player? That is what people are saying. To most people right now, that guess is Core JJ. If you're looking around, what player is the one player in the LCS that has really stood out to people, because the rumors going around are that Bjergsen is most likely going to stay in the LCS. It does seem like that. I don't think, Bjergsen wasn't like, I want to play with Uzi or Faker or, some crazy, Korean name or Chinese name. I'm sure they're being realistic. I would assume it's either NA or EU. And we know that most of the G2 roster, is up for buyout. So it's not like he would have said Reckless or something like that. Even a lot of the European players are up for buyout. And then in NA, who are the top players right now? Like Perks is up for a buyout. Alfari is up for a buyout. Blabber, won a couple MVPs. It seems like Core JJ is the one name that really could fit this whole conversation. So that's crazy. There was potentially a timeline where we could have had TSM, Core JJ pairing up with Bjergsen. Either way, if it is Core JJ, I love that from Bjergsen. I have been saying for the past year that in NA, we need a super team to form. We need our best players to team up. And I really do think that Bjergsen and Core JJ are the two best players in the LCS. And getting them to pair up, team up together on a team would be so exciting. That is not something we have seen in the LCS. We have not seen two players of that caliber coming together. Obviously, there's fair questions. What did this year off do for Bjergsen? How's he going to come back? Will they be able to work together well? But also, if it is Core JJ, again, we don't know that for sure. I'm, pretty confident in that guess. Does that solidify even further the rumors of Bjergsen going to Team Liquid? I 100% think it does, and I do think we will be getting that announcement in the next coming days. Like Regi said, early November is when this stuff happens. That's just 2 days away. Crazy stuff. So, there's a world where TSM tried to get Core JJ. They were not able to, so Bjergsen said, hey, guess what, guys? I'm going to Core JJ then, and that is absolutely crazy. But either way, again, I really do appreciate getting this inside information from Regi, getting, to peel back the curtain, see what was going on behind the scenes. Because it's not always something we get to do, but it is very, very cool and very, very interesting to hear. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Who do you think the one player was? Do you think it was Core, or is there some other name that I'm not thinking of? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace!